All right, so I want to give my impressions on Chucky, my first impressions. Let's start with the perks real quick. Hex 2 can play anytime you're stunned or blinded by any survivor 2 times. Hex 2 can play lights up a dull totem, and then survivors who stun or blind you are blinded for a second and a half. This is a meme perk. I mean, this perk it's not really that good, but it's fun, and I could see it being fun to run in like some niche builds. Do I think I'll run this? Probably not, but I see no problem with it. So Hex 2 can play is cool. I think it can maybe get buffed a little bit, especially for being a Hex. Maybe they could make the blindness duration 2 seconds. But I mean, yeah, there's nothing wrong with this perk. Okay, next, Friends Till the End. This perk, however, I will use. This sounds like it'll be really, really good. And after using it all night, pretty much all night last night, I got so many downs with it. I mean, granted, I was playing Chucky the whole time, but if you were to run this on something like Blight with Vigo's Journal or any stealth killer, really, any mobility killer that can get to the obsession very fast, you can probably get a lot of downs with this. This is a good perk. I think it has potential to be meta somewhat, and yeah, I like it. What I don't like is this perk, batteries included. I don't really see the argument that I've been hearing from a lot of people about like comparing this to Made for This, because the argument is like, oh well, Made for This, you don't have to do anything and it's just passive haste, and so is batteries included. So this perk shouldn't exist if Made for This is going to get nerfed. But I don't agree with that because this requires you to, one, lose gens. So effectively, you have to lose the game to get value from it. You also have to be near those gens that are completed. And third thing, you shouldn't ever really be near completed gens. If you're chasing a survivor near a completed gen, you're not pressuring the remaining gens that you should be patrolling. So you getting that haste, and also granted 5% haste, I mean, it's like it's definitely not nothing, but it's just not good. I don't see the argument, so I don't really see the point in this perk. Maybe, you know, if you want to go for a full end game build, it could maybe be good once all the gens are done. But even still, that's a very niche build. It's definitely not going to be a meta perk. I'm not a big fan of batteries included. I do want to touch, however, though, on his movement speed being 4.4. The tear radius 32 meters, that's fine, and him being super short. The height being super short and him being 4.4 all plays into the third-person camera, which the third-person camera, I mean, this is the first time we've ever had something like this, obviously. And a lot of people, I feel like, well, some people, don't realize that that is pretty much like a power in itself, man. Being able to see around corners without exposing yourself as killer and see over things, and utilizing check spots. If you don't know what that is, a check spot is basically where you sit at a corner and then you wait to see where the killer is going to come from. Well, now Freddy, or I always say Freddy, man, Chucky. Now Chucky can do that as well. You can pop hidey ho mode and then sit at a corner and see what happens. Utilize the check spot. Someone might run into you. I mean, the third person camera, like him having hidey ho mode is fantastic, but the third person camera is amazing. It gives you so many options. So a lot of people were like, man, he feels really slow for 4.4. He should be 4.6. I don't think so. I think with that camera and also how good hidey ho mode is, which we'll touch on in a second, I feel like he needs to be 4.4, because if he were 4.6 and had the camera advantage and had the hidey ho mode, he would be really good. And he's already pretty good, I think. So definitely not like a top tier killer, but he's a good killer for sure. He's definitely not bad. I don't think. And speaking about hidey ho, the cooldown, a lot of people also said that the cooldown was a little bit chunky, and I do agree. But once again, I feel like that is a good thing. I think it's a proper length cooldown, because if they made it any shorter, man, I feel like he would just be oppressive, because his chase, his ability in chase is really good. You have the ability to scamper through windows. You have the ability to scamper under pallets, and I think the scampering under pallets is definitely an issue that needs to be looked at, because right now it is way too fast. I mean, you just fly through that pallet. I mean, it's faster than Legion practically, except Legion can't down you like that. Chucky can. So, you know, Chucky just waits for you to throw a pallet, pop hidey ho, scamper underneath it, and then immediately hit the person. I've seen a clip where someone tested it at a jungle gym. So the survivor had an immediate window to run to. They threw the pallet, went straight to the window, and Chucky was still able to hit them. So that needs to be, they need to reduce how fast he can crawl under pallets. I think if they do that, then that will fix it. That's like pretty much all they need to do. I don't see anything wrong with the window scamper. Another part of Slice and Dice that I do think is somewhat problematic and needs a change is his basically like a lack of cooldown for missing the Slice and Dice. It feels very comparable to how Xenomorph did on PTB, where you can miss your attack and then you maintain so much movement speed that you basically just sit right behind the survivor and wait for the cooldown to end and then hit them. So the survivor can, like, the survivor gains nothing for you missing. Like, the killer doesn't get punished enough. And I think all they gotta do is not affect the cooldown duration, but just reduce his movement speed in the cooldown. And if they make it so you're a little bit slower, just like they did with Xenomorph, then I feel like that will fully fix that problem. And then at that point, I don't really see anything wrong with Chucky. I feel like the cooldown is good enough. Like I said, the Slice and Dice miss cooldown will be fixed. The scamper will be fixed. And at that point, he's just a fun killer that can cover a lot of distance, go for a nice dash attack that is dodgeable, definitely, because the controls are not the smoothest, not the easiest to control. And I think he'll be in a pretty damn good spot at that point. I don't really think there's a whole lot that would need to be done to him. Let's see. I have written down fun factor and voice lines. I mean, I think he's super fun, and yeah, the voice lines are fantastic. That is just great. I mean, playing Chucky, even if you are not winning the game, just like the experience of playing him is fantastic. So I really like that. His Mori is also brutal. Just like, it's excellent. I'm a huge fan of his Mori. To summarize, all in all, I'm very happy with this chapter. I think there's just a few things they need to change. If they do that, Chucky's going to be in a fantastic spot. I think he's a killer that's got a somewhat decent skill floor and somewhat decent potential with the Slice and Dice. So you can do quite a few things with it, being able to chain it through windows with the scamper and continue to move and somewhat flick around corners. And there's some things you can do with it. So, yeah, I like this chapter. I like Chucky. And those are my first impressions. So thanks for watching, guys.